Hello dear, today start our editorial. Portentous overkill मतलब होता है सीरियस, बहुत ज़्यादा सीरियस ऑन द गवर्नमेंट ब्लॉकिंग एक्सेस टू BBC डॉक्यूमेंट्री ऑन PM मोदी arrest and blocking to access to the British Broadcasting Corporation documentary were unwarranted. द आफ्टरमैथ का मतलब होता है किसी चीज़ के बाद में ऑफ द रिलीज ऑफ ए BBC डॉक्यूमेंट्री ऑन द गुजरात पोग्राम ऑफ 2002. पोग्राम का मतलब होता है जीनोसाइड, massacre and carnage, which questions the action taken by then Gujarat government led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi can only be termed as yet another rendition का मतलब होता है शो करना, दिखाना ऑफ द स्ट्रीजेंट इफेक्ट. इसका मतलब होता है बार बार सामने आना, ऐसा इफेक्ट जो बार बार सामने आए. आफ्टर इशूइंग डायरेक्शन to disable access to the first episode on website using emergency power under the IT rules 2021 and Section 69A of the IT Act 2000. The Minister of Information and Broadcasting MIB also blocked over 50 tweets with a link to the documentary, but this only resulted in citizens gaining access through screening and shares over smartphone. Akin to का मतलब होता है similar to. How the suppression मतलब दबाना of information has the unintended मतलब अनचाही consequence of raising more awareness. मतलब जो चीज़ दबाई जाती है वो उतनी सामने आती है. और द स्ट्रेंज इफेक्ट, जैसे कि ये इफेक्ट ये बार बार सामने आता है. और अदर एक्शन सच एज द पुलिस डिटेंशन of 13 students at Jamia Millia Islamia University, Delhi on the pretext का मतलब होता है प्रिटेंड करना, बहाना बनाना, that they were about to have a screening for an overkill मतलब अत्यधिक, बहुत ज़्यादा स्क्रीनिंग होने लगी बहुत ज़्यादा overkill and amounted to an abuse of power. It goes without saying that the government should not arbitrarily मतलब मनमाने ढंग से ब्लॉक द डिसएमिनेशन का मतलब होता है प्रदर्शन करना ऑफ मीडिया कंटेंट जस्ट बिकॉज इट इज़ क्रिटिकल ऑफ द रिजाइम का मतलब होता है सरकार. Its justification to use emergency power to block access to the documentary as being propagandist and of a colonial mindset does not hold water मतलब रोकना. If it is seen in the continuum of coverage of the pogrom का मतलब massacre and carnage and genocide and the aftermath, यानी इन सब के होने के बाद, in any cases चाहे कुछ भी हो, propaganda should be countered by propaganda and not censorship. The events that led to the program, that the horrific crimes carelessness of the then regime then and the lack of sufficient resource to law and order steps have all been well recorded and comment upon in the India press. The BBC documentary is just another media investigation into a portion of Indian history that changed the course of the polity, not just in Gujarat but also elsewhere. The online blocking of the first episode using emergency power cannot be justified on the basis provided by the MIB that it is propagandist and only effect reflect a recent tendency to utilize IT rules to assert execute power rather than address this as a free speech issue. The IT rules were amended in February 2021 to allow for increased government control over online news publications, action that are now being heard in courts. Recent High Court's order have also weighed in का मतलब होता है बीच में बोलना on the need to protect free speech and have stated the government's moves to control freedom of expression on digital platform. In its action, a clear case can be made that the central government is more keen on का मतलब होता है interested blocking critical content than using the IT rules to regulate hate speech and misinformation, the true ban of the digital media ecosystem today. Okay, now second editorial start on US government. No control on the way of mass shooting in the US. The United States seems unable to bring right control on assault weapons. Two mass shooting in 48 hours earlier this month in the US state of California, claiming 18 lives have been yet another grave reminder of the plague of gun violence confronting the world's most powerful country. On January 21 in California, Monterey Park, and gunmen massacred 11 people in the country's deadliest mass shooting so far this year. 2 days later, 7 people were killed in Half Moon Bay in Northern California. A few hours later, a shooting on Oakland resulted in one person being killed and 7 others injured. Tragedy upon tragedy. Was California Governor Gavin Newsom's lamented का मतलब होता है विलाप करना about the shooting. US President Joe Biden once again called for a ban on assault weapon based. Beside this statement, it is doubtful whether the US Congress would pass any meaningful gun control laws, and in January alone there have been 38 shooting incidents in 17 different US states. In the US, where the Second Amendment assure citizens of the right to bear arms. There are about 120 firemen firearms for every 100 residents. मतलब 100 लोगों के पास 120 हथियार हैं. Yet, despite repeated mass shooting, the US still does not have strong national level gun control laws. Every time a mass shooting takes place, President issue strong statement and calls for legislative action, which fall on deaf. इसका मतलब होता है मतलब ध्यान ही नहीं देते, सुन ही नहीं, कोई सुनता ही नहीं है. फॉल ऑन डिफ, इग्नोर कर देना, अनसुना कर देना. लास्ट ईयर आफ्टर एन 18 years old former student shoot down 90 elementary shooting children in Texas, and Congress passed the widest firearms legislation, the first in 3 decades, which expand बैकग्राउंड चेक. मतलब पहली बार एक लॉ लाए जिसमें यह देखना होगा कि उसका बैकग्राउंड चेक करेंगे सारा. फॉर गनमैन परचेज अंडर 21, और जो 21 ईयर्स से अप होगा उसको गन दी जाएगी. इम्पोज्ड penalties on gun trafficking and straw prices through widely welcome. It was not enough to control gun violence in a country with the world's largest per capita guns, and the Supreme Court decision last year to strike down a New York state law that placed restriction on carrying guns outside the home by reaffirming the Second Amendment was a setback, मतलब बाधा, setback for attempts to bring in statewide legislation. House Democrat passed an assault weapons ban last year, but it never reached Mr. Biden's desk as the bill was stalled in the Senate. मतलब सीनेट का मतलब वहाँ की सरकार को सीनेट बोलते हैं. और जो यहाँ के बाइडेन है उनके पास जो लास्ट ईयर जो बिल पास किया था वो इनके पास आया ही नहीं, स्टॉल कहीं रुक गया, टाल दिया. Republicans have often invoked constitutional rights to stall legislation. The Deep Pocket and Influence National Rifles Association and the powerful gun manufacturing industry have consistently opposed gun control measures despite polls showing a vast desire for strict control. Everyone knows what need to be done. Gun control, but it is surprising and tragic that a democracy that takes pride in its value and superpower that has gone towards in the name of protesting its citizens, and seem helpless when it comes to doing what has been done, even when hundreds of Americans get killed every year due to gun violence.